Um, Tell us about your journey towards veganism. You mentioned that you were vegetarian 34 years ago.
Yeah, I went when I was in law school. I went uh, to visit a slaughterhouse at the urging of somebody. I was involved with when I was a young person. I was involved in efforts against the Vietnam War. I protested against the Vietnam War and whatnot. And it was then that I started hearing about nonviolence and about Gandhi actually I learned about Gandhi through Martin Luther King, who talked about nonviolence, and I started learning about Gandhi. Interestingly, I started reading about Gandhi, and Gandhi talked about the influence that Jainism had on him and his thinking. And that's the first time, as I recall, that's the first time I had ever heard of Jainism, was reading about Gandhi and talking about the influence of Jainism on his thinking. And it was in that connection, because I began thinking, well, nonviolence really is the right way to go. And then I learned about Jainism and about these people who had ahimsa and nonviolence at the center of their thinking. But it was in that connection that someone said to me, well, but you eat meat. And there was a person who was not a Jain, actually, who mentioned this to me. We were just talking about nonviolence, and she said, but how can you eat meat? And I had never really thought about that question. I mean, I'm an American guy who was raised in New York and ate meat, all the time, and never thought about it. So I went and I visited a slaughterhouse. I walked out of the slaughterhouse, and I have not eaten meat since walking out of the slaughterhouse. I stopped eating meat, poultry, and I ate fish for I think another year or so, and then I read something about fish being able to feel pain, so I stopped eating fish. But actually, to be very frank with you, I had never heard the word vegan. I'd never even heard that word before. And I was not aware that there were people, I wasn't aware that it was possible to live without eating animal products, that you would die if you didn't have some source of animal protein. And it was 1982 that I met another vegan, and I met a vegan, because I was not a vegan at the time. I met a vegan who gave me some things to read about the fact that I didn't need to eat animal products to be optimally healthy. And I became a vegan with my life partner, Anna Charlton, in 1982, in the fall of 1982. I have not had animal products since the fall of 1982. I stopped consuming them completely. I continued to wear, I had some leather shoes that I continued to wear because I thought it was wasteful to throw them away. But I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't wear the leather. But at the time, it was 1982, and I was the only vegan I knew other than the person who talked to us. And so I continued to wear leather and wool for a while, but then I stopped all of that. And so now I don't wear any leather, wool, or silk. I don't use any animal products in terms of things, toothpaste or shampoo or anything anything with animal products like that.
I remember that when there was a meeting of some of the presenters at the Jane Center of Northern California's
Yes.
conference for the 10th anniversary, you even pulled out your own little container of soap to wash your hands at the restaurant, because the soap that's contained in restaurants must have some animal product or lanolin.
And here is this is not the same one I had in Northern California, but this is the
Oh, wow.
hand sanitizer that I use.
Yeah.
And I use that because hand sanitizers have lanolin in them.
Yeah.
And I don't use, like, lanolin is derived from sheep's wool, and I
Yeah.
don't use that any of those products. So I try to be as conscientious about it as I possibly can.